Former President Jacob Zuma should know his fate today regarding his medical parole.
Correctional Services Commissioner Makgothi Thobakgale is expected to announce whether Zuma will return to prison to complete his 15-month sentence.
In July of 2021, the former president was arrested at his Nkandla home and imprisoned at the Escort Correctional Centre.
Earlier, the Constitutional Court had found him guilty of contempt of court after he refused to appear before the Zondo State Capture Commission. Violence, including looting and arson, erupted in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng following Zuma's conviction. More than 350 people died in the unrest, which cost the economy at least 50 billion rand. Let's get some comment now on the story as we're joined by the spokesperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation, Mzwanele Manyi, who joins us live now. Thank you so much for your time. Let's start with first your reaction to all of what is happening as we wait to hear from the Correctional Services.
Good evening, Bongo, and your viewers. No, I'm listening to all these things, but I'm actually confused as to why is this such a complicated thing, because this is quite a simple thing here. The commissioner actually has got no room to maneuver on this matter in terms of the law, because the law does not deal with the issue that he's supposed to be dealing with, as it were. The law only allows him to reincarcerate a person who has either been discharged unlawfully. President Zuma was not discharged unlawfully. A person who either has absconded the correctional facilities term. President Zuma did not abscond. So I'm actually surprised as to why this hype on this matter. Is a very straightforward matter. This President Zuma was incarcerated for 15 months. President Zuma served 15 months within the care of the correctional services. So why is this matter such a hype as if it can go either way? There's no either way. There's only one way. The court only had one matter to deal with, and the matter that the court dealt with was the unlawfulness of the parole. Now, whether the parole was unlawful or lawful, it was served, as it were, and President Zuma served the full term. So why is this thing made complicated?
So one of the things I'm sure you heard, one of the legal analysts that we spoke to here on the show, and I do understand you were listening to that conversation, is that whether or not it's straightforward in your view, there are parties that are likely to take this matter to the courts and thus further making it an issue of importance.
Well, look, the haters will always want to do everything because they really hate President Zuma, so we know that for a fact. But the issue here is, what does the law say? And the law here is, and by the way, this commissioner had already pronounced on this matter on the 7th of October. He had already pronounced that President Zuma has served his term. What would change from that pronouncement? Absolutely nothing. President Zuma served his term as of 7th of October 2022. So all the commissioners, in fact, this decision, strictly speaking, should have taken 1 day. I honestly don't know why it took so long for this decision, but it can never, if that decision is not the decision that was the same as the 7th of October 2022 decision, then this decision will be a political and unlawful. Sorry, it would be a political and an unlawful decision, because there is no provision of the law that says when a person has served the incarceration term, which also include being on parole, that we have liberty as a commissioner to extend that term. There isn't a provision. The Section 39, for instance, that was quoted by one of the lawyers, is not a section that deals with a person that was on parole. It's a section that deals with a person that was released prematurely. The word the law uses is discharge. President Zuma was never discharged prematurely. If you are on parole, you are still a prisoner. If you are on parole, you still have a prisoner number. If you are on parole, you must still report your movements to the Correctional Services. How can you say a person like that was discharged?
So one of the things, though, of course, that is, of concern right now is that should the decision go either way, we could see a repeat of what happened in July 2021. And thus a lot of people are asking questions as to whether or not, if we have this conversation and we keep on referring to the unrest as a possibility, should a decision not go the way that those who are supporting the former president want, are we then not, according to some as they ask, holding the law at ransom?
No, it should not be complicated. I think what happened in July 2021 with those uprisings, it was really a failure of two things. One, it was a failure of the Constitutional Court to act within the confines of the law. The Constitutional Court upset the public. The Constitutional Court issued a ruling which was not supported by the Constitution. President Zuma was detained without trial. President Zuma was denied the right to mitigate sentence. President Zuma was denied the right to even appeal the sentence. So that decision that Kampepe and her people did was on its own unlawful, and they acted with haste, they acted with anger, they acted with vengeance, they really acted with a lot of emotion on that decision. It was not a lawful decision, but President Zuma nonetheless respected it. Then the next issue was the issue of Ramaphosa himself. Ramaphosa chairs a committee called the National Security Council. That council is a council that sits to process intelligence information. The issue of these riots was not a surprise for the security forces. They knew about this and they reported this matter. But the committee that was meant to sit and process and do all kinds of actions to be ready for this thing did not sit. So between the Constitutional Court and Ramaphosa, they actually are the people that caused those riots in 2021.
Very briefly, we're out of time. How is the former president doing?
President Zuma is fine. He's really fine. There's no real issue with him. The last time I saw him, he's really fine, and he's not losing sleep over this decision because he expects the commissioner to make a lawful decision, and the lawful decision would be to repeat what he said on the 7th of October 2022.
Let's see if he does repeat what he said on the 7th of October. And if he doesn't, please keep your phone close to you. We'll then have reaction from yourself to see exactly how then do you react if the decision is not the same. That is a spokesperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation, Mzwanele Manyi.